Sound financial management is an expectation of all recognized student organizations at UW-Whitewater. There are many methods to choose from for your organization to organize or store your funding. The three options listed here are the most viable ones. The first option, a student faculty account, is held in the cashier's office in Higher Hall. The cashier's office considers this an in-out account, which means that the student organization would go over to Higher Hall and request a check to be cut, and then return any remaining cash, if that's appropriate, as well as receipts, right back to the source. So it's a way for them to help you to make sure that if there's sales tax needed, that you're paying that sales tax to the state, as well as having documentation of expenditures as you go. When you have a student faculty account, you are under the university's employee identification number, so you do not have to apply for a separate one for your organization. And you can use tax-exempt status on any purchases or fundraising dollars that go in and out of your student faculty account. Another option would be working with a bank or credit union for checking or savings, or both. There are some conveniences to doing this route, debit cards or credit cards being one of them. Having your own checkbook and way to make payments on your own time frame are nice conveniences of having this option. There are some negatives to consider as well. The first is that any name on the checking or savings accounts has to have a high enough credit score that they would be able to have a personal account at that institution. The second is that when you first apply for a checking or savings account, you do have to apply for an employee identification number. As I mentioned, with a student faculty account, you would use the university's in that case, but with a bank or credit union, you would need your own. It's a free process and it doesn't take very long. It's an online thing that you do, but you do have to plug in your personal Social Security number and attach that to the account for the life of the account, which means that when you graduate and are long gone from here, your Social Security number and your responsibility in a legal sense is still connected to that organization, even though you may no longer be present. So it's something to really strongly consider as you move forward. The third option that is available to eligible organizations are segregated university fees. For information about eligibility, you can check the SUFAC website, uww.edu/SUFAC, which is SUFAC. Segregated fees are a fee that all students pay, and there's a process that happens each fall where that money is then allocated to different organizations on campus that serve a greater campus purpose. That could be conferences and presentations, and it could be a wide variety of that are covered in those fees, but it is very important to know that there are limitations on eligibility. Nonprofit status is something a lot of organizations ask about, so we wanted to share what that is and how to figure out if you have it or not. It's also called 501c3 status or nonprofit status, sometimes called not-for-profit status, although that means different things in different circles. Groups may be eligible based on your purpose and mission for your own nonprofit status, and if that's the case, you would need to apply for that through the state of Wisconsin's website. Groups, however, that have money in a student faculty account or a SUF org account, so that's the segregated fees, may be able to use the university's tax-exempt certificate and code. So you wouldn't need to apply for your own because the money is going through the university's accounts in this case, and the university is a tax-exempt entity. When talking about money, it's always important to mention that you have to pay the bills, right? Beyond possible legal issues, being turned into collection and so forth, you also risk losing your organization's recognized status because it is a conduct issue if you're not paying bills to campus or other entities. So it's important to consider and to stay on top of. Some additional information for student organizations regarding finances, specifically we're talking about contracts and licensing. A contract is an agreement between two or more parties, can be verbal or in writing. We encourage student orgs whenever possible to have something in writing that relates to how and when a service is going to be provided. That could be a speaker coming to campus, a coach working with your team for this season, or a service being provided like renting a bus or a dunk tank for your fundraiser. A contract should be signed and only signed by someone who's eligible to on behalf of the university. There are 2 staff members in career and leadership development that are eligible to do so, and so we ask that you bring contracts in for us to review. Make sure that it is a fair contract for you and for them, and then sign it on behalf of you and the university. Student organization officers and members are not eligible to sign contracts on behalf of your organization. It would be an illegal act to do so because you're not eligible to do any kind of contracting on behalf of the university. So please avoid doing that. A third-party vendor is somebody you would contract to bring to campus or to work with in order to reduce your liability. Most typically on campus, we see third-party vendors in relation to events where alcohol is served and where transportation is involved. So a third-party vendor, for example, would be a bus company that provides transportation for your group. People could provide their own transportation, but by using a third-party vendor and paying that bus company, you're reducing the liability of the individuals who are attending. The same would go for an event where you had alcohol served. Rather than having your members purchase and check IDs and serve alcohol, it would reduce your liability significantly to have an event at a location where there are licensed bartenders with liability insurance, as well as a site that knows how to card individuals and to make sure that overconsumption doesn't happen. So third-party vendors are not the cheapest way to go, right? It's often cheaper to do things on your own, but it reduces the risk of things like foodborne illness and legal issues. The UW-Whitewater Licensing and Trademark Agreement is a statement that says that student organizations can use the university's name and logo, likenesses, and images. However, you have to do 2 things. One is you have to use them appropriately, and the Trademark and Licensing Agreement goes over what the appropriate steps are and how it can be used. And then the second thing is you'll need to work with a company that has the right to print things on behalf of the university. So they're going to help you make sure that anything that you produce is something that you will actually be able to either sell or give away once it's been created. Please note that this agreement has to be met whether you are selling an item or not. If you're giving it away, it still has to be something that's approved before you have it created. The third topic here is movie licensing. Movie licensing is something that a lot of student organizations struggle with because we're always trying to find ways to be social with our members. It's important to know for movies that the producers of the movies have sold the rights of those movies to companies, and their sole purpose on this earth as a business is to make money off of the use of those movies. So some are independent, and you'll find them directly just by searching for them online, but many go through just a couple of companies that exist in the United States and beyond. If you're interested in showing a movie, whether you're charging fees or not, whether it's for a meeting or social gathering or a fundraiser or something larger, any public space, you're going to have those rights, and you'll want to talk to someone that can help you through the process. The best resource that you have on campus is Michelle Phillip. She is a University Center employee. She works with the UC Entertainment team, and a big part of her job is working with students to select and bring movies to campus. She may be able to find you a discount as part of the overall contracts that she has, but at the very least, she'll be able to help you process how to go about purchasing the rights to show a movie and bringing it to campus.